Check, checkity check. What's up, everybody? What's up? Happy Pod Day! Yeah! Woo! What's up, everybody? What's up? Hopefully you had an amazing morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever you're listening to this episode. Here, season 4, episode 8, Yoga Talk, featuring the amazing Yoga Instructor Kerianne Brown to be in the building today, getting up with us shortly. And so we have another power-packed podcast here. Look, season 4, man, episode 8. If this is your first time, and let me get to those shout outs. If this is your first time, you need to go all the way back to the origin. You need to go all the way back to season 1. Yeah. So without further ado, let me welcome you to the See.Plan.Do show. For day 1, A1 listeners, as always, mi corazones, mi familia, thank you so much. First time listeners, hey, how are you today? Welcome. Come on in, take a seat. We have plenty of snacks and water, all these wonderful things available. All right. To people that are listening both in the States, in the U.S., outside of the U.S. All right. Everybody across the world, thank you so much for signing up, as well as people who are watching me right now. I'm watching you, watch me, watch you in 1080p or 4K or 3D if you're fancy. So welcome to the See.Plan.Do show. Again, me, your host, your professional life coach, mindset coach, barbecue aficionado, Mr. Garry O'Neal Jr. And as always, when you see me on that grill, when you see me cooking up that brisket that has been there for 12 hours, please don't forget the Junior. Shout out to Pops. And so by this time this episode is done, Father's Day has passed. So hopefully dads out here across the country, you've had an amazing Father's Day. And so I am so excited to get into this episode because we only have the best of the best of host of guests on this show. And so I'm very excited to talk about today. Also, your appetizer, don't rush. And then we're going to talk yoga talk today. All right. So can we get right into it, guys? Of course we can. Of course we can. So here is your See.Plan.Do moment of the week entitled, It Gets Better. So right after our brief commercial announcement, of course, by Heart Savers Maryland, we're going to get right into It Gets Better. All right. And so let's talk about It Gets Better. You will right now, you will watch an entire Netflix series, even after the first couple of episodes were dry or slow, because someone told you, hey, it gets better. It gets better. It gets better. What if you right now looked at the goals that you're working on, looked at the things that you're doing, looking at all the things that you're working on the same way and told yourself, hey, it gets better. Your life will get better. The things that you're working on right now, trust and believe. You're rolling up your sleeves. You're getting dirty. You're getting your hands dirty. But guess what? Sometimes we may be in season 4, episode 3, or season 1, episode 1, and it might be slow and things are not happening the way you want. But trust and believe. Trust and believe. It gets better. I promise you it gets better. All right, that is your See.Plan.Do moment of the week, sponsored by Heart Savers Maryland. Please make sure you learn CPR, all of the things that come with CPR, first aid, AED training. Make sure you get with them. All right, so let's get to our Green Light Entertainment song of the week. We got the summertime vibes, man. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, when you listen to the brief snippet, hey, YouTube fans, as always, we cannot play that song. But guess what? The comments and the details, you'll know what the song is. And I want you, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're in your car, roll down those windows, even if it's hot outside. Roll down the windows and just zone out to any of the songs that I play in the intro, as well as the song of the week. All right. So right after this brief word from our sponsors, You're going to hear our song of the week, and then we're going to get right into our appetizer. And then we have Kerianne Brown, and we're going to be talking yoga. I'm stretching right now. You don't even know. I'm stretching right now as we're doing this. All right. Here is your Greenlight Entertainment song of the week. All right. So hopefully you guys are zoning out. So can we get to our appetizer? I know that I move really quickly with our stuff. Yeah. Because I enjoy maximizing our time. So our appetizer today, because I really took back and I thought about this, and I wanted to make sure that these appetizers, hey man, they can fill you up. You can stop after the appetizer, but of course we got the entree. All right. So your appetizer today is don't rush. Here are 6 things right now. Six things that right now you should not ever rush at. Number 1. Are you ready for number 1? Number 1 is say that you know someone or think that you know someone. All right. First day. Oh, I've known them my whole life. No, you have not. That's sometimes you notice that people's representative, right? Now, let's be honest, maybe a young Garry O'Neal, when he first started his careers and we were in the interview room. Now, I'm not saying that. It could be hypothetical. I might not be talking about me, a young you or a young someone else that you might know. Remember, they would say, well, what's your, why should we hire you? Oh, you're showing up early every day. You're staying late every day. You're putting it in. Now they're like, do you still work here? But and I say that because sometimes we think we know a person because it's exciting to know a person, whether you're dating, whether you're being friends or anything. You feel like you know them because it's fun. It's exciting. Hey, I know this person, but you don't really know them. So just take your time and getting to know a person, because a lot of times we turn around and because we think we know this person, hey, something happens and we're like, oh, I didn't think they would do that. Well, you didn't even know them. So don't rush in getting to know a person. Okay. Oh, we've never had an argument. Well, you don't really know this person. Do you know if they like candy corn or not? I'm going to ask Kerianne that when she gets on. All right. Do you know them? So don't rush and get to know somebody. So number 2 is giving away your trust. Now, as me being transparent, that's something I had to make sure I worked on, because I like to lead out with the trust, lead out with the work. And don't rush too much with giving away your trust. I want you to imagine that your trust is like a bank account and it's in a safe. First day, you're not giving somebody the keys to the safe. You're not. You don't know them. So please make sure that you take time. Don't rush in giving away your trust. Trust is to be earned. It's to be earned. All right. Too many times. Look on your social media page right now. Unfortunately, a lot of people who have been hurt, who have been heartbroken, who have had their trust trampled because they gave it away too fast. So let someone earn your trust. So don't rush it. Oh, I trust them. No, you don't. I don't even trust, guys. I don't even trust ATM when I get my money. I count my money. So if I'm counting a machine that's giving me my money, you best believe that it takes a minute, because I always tell people trust is like an egg, for real. An egg is designed to hold a chicken or an animal, but if you drop it, boom, it's over. So take your time, okay? All right. I know you want to be friends. I know you want to be in a relationship, but take your time. Don't rush with someone with giving away your trust. Number 3, eating your food. Savor your food. First, as a CPR instructor, please chew your food properly, because I don't want you guys choking out here because you're trying to swallow all of your food. Take time. And when you're taking your time, you know what? You get to enjoy it. What do you like? What's your favorite food? Comment below. As you're commenting below, please make sure you hit that like, share this, subscribe. All right. But what do you like? What's your favorite food? I like to savor. I recently went to a French steakhouse. That steak was $95. It wasn't a big porterhouse. It wasn't even that big. But guess what? It was like butter. And I took my time in savoring each bite. Eat your food. Don't rush to eat your food. Take your time. All right. Whatever the deadline is, it's going to be there. You don't have to choke. and you don't have to just scarf everything down. Okay. Number 4, falling in love. Could it be I'm falling in love? Take your time. Infatuation is a real thing. Lust is a real thing, and we need. And so, when you tell someone you love them, that's something that, hey, it's nothing. I'm not saying that we don't have people that can love is at first sight and stuff like that. Those things are great, but don't rush falling in love. It's a reason why a lot of these shows that like 90 Days or Love at First Sight, they build the drama. And a lot of them don't last. I'm pretty sure if you look at the stats on some of these shows where they're matching people up the first day, it's not working out because the infatuation stage is over. Don't rush to fall in love. Let it build. Let it cook. Let it simmer. Let it get there. Kerianne's going to be on shortly. I'm pretty sure she's going to tell people, hey, start off with the warrior pose. I don't think we're getting into level 3. I don't know what level 3 would look like. I don't even know if there's levels, but I'm pretty sure she's not going to have you do a super complex yoga move and you just bought your yoga pants. All right. Take time. Fall in love. It's beautiful when you take your time and fall in love. Number 5, judge someone's character. We want to really be saying, we really want to have a situation where we tell people, hey, don't judge a book by its cover, but we do. And it's unfortunate because sometimes we're right and sometimes we're wrong. So let someone in their thoughts and what they say to you in their actions dictate to you what their character is like. We don't have to judge anybody. I don't judge anybody. I'm critical of certain things, but I don't judge anybody. But take time. Don't rush to judge someone's character. Oh, they look a certain way. Oh, they have a whole bunch of tattoos. Oh, they're this, they're that. Oh, I know who they are. And we're judging people's character. We see too many times in society where people are judging people's character and they're completely wrong. So take your time and judge someone's character. And number 6, make big decisions. Where you want to eat today, you don't have to. That's not a big decision. Buying a house, buying a car, cutting off your hair, if you feel like it's a big decision, don't rush. Take a day. Take a moment. Take a moment. Say, you know what? Hey, let me think about this. I have locks now, and if you've seen me, I have my locks on top and I have my hair shaved on the side, but I remember when I first had my locks and my locks were all the way down to my back. And one day I said, you know what? I'm tired of having to deal with getting it redone. And I'm tired of getting it, it's getting frizzy after me working out. And I was married at the time. I said, hey, cut these off. And when I think back on it, I'm okay with every decision I've made. But when I think back on it, I said, probably should take a moment to think about that. So don't rush into making those big decisions. All right. That is your 6 things that you should not rush in. Don't rush. Hey, guys. All right. That is your appetizer. And guess what? Your appetizer today is sponsored by Silk Hair by Sasha. And if you have not had the pleasure, not frequented, let me tell you about them right now. Silk Hair by Sasha is a Black-owned hair company that provides high quality Brazilian and Indian hair. And they also carry bonnets. They also carry hair accessories, edge brushes, and they are constantly adding more products. They recently just added lipstick, so make sure you get with them. They have a custom wig service, and you must buy the hair from them, of course. And please make sure you visit their website, as well as follow them on all the Instagram and all these other social media platforms by going to silkhairbysasha.com. That's www.silkhairbysasha.com. Get with them and tell them Garry sent you. Okay? Tell them Garry sent you. One of my wonderful sponsors. All right. So can we get to our entree of the day? Here, season 4, episode 8, Yoga Talk. I have the wonderful Kerianne Brown here. So let's bring her on. Let's see if she's in the back. I say that like I don't see them. Like, come on, Garry. Come on, stop it. All right, let's bring her on. Kerianne, how are you?
Oh, I'm so good.
Hey. It is such an honor to have you on the show. I'm thankful that you had a time out of your busy schedule to come on this show and let's talk yoga, yeah?
Yeah.
So
thanks for having me on.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. So if you do not know Miss Kerianne Brown, She is a yoga instructor and one of the best ones here in Baltimore. So please make sure you check her out. All right. So can we get right into knowing you and asking you those critical questions that I always ask everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. So can we get to our, my favorite segment, guys? Now, again, if you've not been a fan of the show, first, what are you doing? But every guest that comes in, they get the questions beforehand. She knows what I'm going to ask her. But these questions I have right here, she doesn't know them in my segment entitled Fuego Rapido. And these are questions that, hey, we want to get to know a yoga instructor. All right. Are you ready, Kerianne?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. Question number 1. Wings. First, do you eat wings?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Flats or drums? Go.
Drums.
Okay. All right. She's off to a good start, ladies and gents. All right. Blue cheese or ranch? I'm taking it back.
I'm from Michigan. Blue cheese. And I say blue cheese still.
Yes,
I know they love ranch.
Yes. I love blue cheese. We're blue cheese gang.
Me too.
All right. Last off the cuff question. And I have not asked some of these questions in a while. So, Kerianne, I met you out and about with your lovely husband. Last question. This question hurts me at times when I ask people this. Kerianne, what are your thoughts on candy corn?
Oh, I like it. I say I like it. I don't say I love it, but I will eat handfuls of it. So
that's all we need.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. So I got 3 real questions. Those are real questions for me, but I like to go in and let's go with the first one. I'm going to put it up to the screen and I like this one. What characteristic are you most known for? Ooh.
Being tangential. Like I'm a tangential storyteller. I start here, I'm going to go here, 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 here. We'll get back around eventually, but yeah, everyone around me knows it.
I like that. Tangential. We're going on a ride.
Going on a ride.
All right, cool. I like that. Tangential. All right. Question number 2. Fuego Rapido. Mm-hmm. Ooh, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? Ooh. I know, right?
I have a really big fear of not being in control or like letting go. So I would like to work with that a little bit and start to shift some things around in that department. Yeah, that's fun and scary to navigate.
Okay. All right. I like that.
I feel good about like sitting on the couch and watching Netflix for hours. But an hour goes by and I'm like, no, I gotta do something.
Oh, do you? You have to do something?
I don't have to. No, don't have to.
It starts with honestly just confronting those type of thoughts. That's it. You know, that's it. We're in control of a lot though. We're in control of what we think, what we say, and what we do. Everything else we sort of we leave it up to whatever. Like it could rain right now. Hey, what can we do? Right? Yeah. All right. Last one. Fuego Rapido with our world famous yoga instructor Kerianne Brown here on the See.Plan.Do show. Last one. Ooh, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? We ain't gotta say ever. You can go with ever. But we can also, how about this? Let's just go. That's such a huge question. How about let's say in the last 3 months?
Honestly, this is not a plug for your show, but in listening to your show before we met, who was on that owns the pod booking?
The wonderful Daniela Garcia.
Yes, you two were talking about the thing that stuck with you for a long time.
Oh, that success is inevitable.
It is inevitable, and something you were saying on the Starbucks episode too, like you gotta keep going.
Yeah, that 243. So pretty much you're saying in the last 3 months, your best pieces of advice came from the See.Plan.Do show.
Yeah, like not expected. And
I'm gonna clip that
I'm gonna clip that as a commercial.
So there we go. Great.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you for that. Hey, that 243, that episode, if you have not listened to that 243, that's or the one with pod booking, with the one with Daniela Garcia, you're missing out. All right. You are one person away from getting what you want. You are one opportunity away. 242 times Howard Schultz was rejected in reference to Starbucks. Now, if you say, hey, I'm gonna get some coffee, we know where you're going. We know. You know where you're going. All right. Thank you so much for playing Fuego. Rapido. I'm gonna get a commercial for that. All right. So season 4, episode 8, entitled Yoga Talk with Yoga Instructor Kerianne Brown. And so can we get right into it, Kerianne?
Oh yeah.
All right. So question number 1. All right. So please just give us your journey and feel free to be tangential. All right. And how you got and how did you get and what made you decide to get into yoga?
I was going to school in Detroit at Wayne State, and I was studying acting. And my roommate in college had a Biggest Loser DVD, and they had a yoga set. Biggest Loser. It's great time. So we'd be sitting there in between classes with the dude yelling at us to squat and hold a plank forever. And so that was my intro to it. And years later, I moved to New York with my now husband at the time. And I was under a lot of pressure trying to make ends meet and audition and rehearse. My day looked like getting up at 4 a.m, working at a coffee shop, going to an audition or 2, and then rehearsing for one show, and then performing in another show, getting up and doing it all over again, all to be in like a 3rd production of a rock and roll rendition of Midsummer Night's Dream. So I was not having a great time. And I started practicing yoga at Yoga to the People, and trigger warning before we say that place, because they have since come out with allegations at that studio. Sexual and psychological abuse. And it's unfortunately a big thing for a lot of studios, whether it's publicly known or not publicly known. It's an industry that can be exploitative, like a lot of industries. So my first intro to it was a bit of a cult. I'll be honest. It felt like you had to be indoctrined into what everyone else was doing. On the flip side of that, it was the first space that I felt seen and really heard. And it was also the first time that I was introduced to the 8 limbs of yoga, and recognizing that it wasn't just all about the physical poses, and that the physical poses, or asana, is one of those 8 limbs. So it was the first place where I was made aware that meditation is a big part of a yoga practice, and breathing and pranayama is a big part of a meditation practice. And so my eyes were opened in that way, and also it was a very cult-like experience. Oh, wow. So, yeah. And I kind of want to go into one detail of what I mean by that, just so. Go ahead. I remember one time we were asked as a training, and this is so, like, if other people are listening that are going through teacher trainings and you experience this kind of stuff happening, it happens all too often. So I think it's important to talk about, because it's really not talked about. But I remember one weekend we had a training where we were asked to hold chair pose. And if you've taken a yoga class, chair pose is this. You're standing in a squat and your arms are up. And you're holding that squat. So you're doing it for 4 minutes. It's basically a wall squat with no wall behind you.
Yikes.
Yeah. So you've got 60 people in the room, grown adults, crying and screaming, and meanwhile you've got a bunch of like 20-something acrobats going around holding people's arms up to make sure that their arms stay up, right? So, and then after that they'd say like, okay, get in a circle and divulge your deepest, darkest secret that no one knows. And then as someone who's, training in social work, they wouldn't follow up with anything. They'd just be like, bye, go on the subway. See ya. So, that wasn't fun to experience. I got out of that as soon as I felt red flags in my body. Right, the second I felt the red flags, and it took a whole training before I felt them. But when I started feeling that come up, I moved to another studio called Unity Yoga in Harlem. So if you're ever in that area, it's a great studio. And what I loved about that studio space, and what was so different than what I was used to, was the focus on community and the focus on building the space with the neighborhood. And everyone who's going to be there, the clients, are all having a say in what that space looks like. And that was a huge shift for me. I experienced that a bit when I moved to Baltimore. Basically, we moved to Baltimore because the rent was too high in New York. That's what a lot of people do. A lot of migration from New York to here. So we moved here, and families out here too. So that's been really convenient and super great to see family on a more regular basis. So I moved out here, started working at Charm City Yoga, and again, felt seen, heard, talked about more than just a physical practice, but even in, you look at studio classes now, and they're all 60 to 90 minute workout classes, for lack of a better term. It's, I call it get ripped quick vinyasa, where you come in, you hold the planks, that's wonderful. That's like really great to do. I think that like you don't need to have a handstand to do yoga. And I would say you don't need yoga pants to do yoga. You could, all of your pants are yoga pants. A skirt can be yoga pants. Like you don't need the stretchy micro wicking magic Lulu stuff. You can do yoga in anything you're wearing.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that there has been a watered down version of this practice that's become very mainstream, and we hyper focused on the fitness aspect of it because that's what makes money.
So you went through these things, and then you said, you know what? I'm just gonna do my own thing. Yeah, a little bit of pandemic changing my life, and I had a baby during the pandemic, so I was teaching. I was teaching online pretty soon after having my child. It was December I started teaching online, so I've been holding online classes all year, and that's been a total learning curve. Learning curve of doing Zoom yoga, and I was working for YogaWorks, but they more recently filed for bankruptcy, so I had to contact as many people as I could and boot and rally. A lot of boot and rallying. Wow.
Yeah. So, and you asked me earlier if I was teaching at a studio before we got on. I don't know that I'm going to go back to teaching in a studio. I don't know if the conditions would really have to be inclusive and diverse and welcoming. And I think renting space for me as a teacher is where I'm looking to go, because again, it has become quite the exploitative industry for teachers. I was starting a union before the pandemic too.
Oh, okay.
Tangent.
I'm enjoying the journey. All right, season 4, episode 8. We're yoga talking. We're having yoga talk with Kerianne Brown. All right. So that's how you got started. That's your origin story for getting into yoga. All
Yes.
right. And so let's talk about the benefits of yoga, because you've highlighted a couple of times in your story. You've highlighted, hey, you've highlighted the mental benefits. So let's talk about mental and physical benefits of yoga.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Well, I just talked about my previous experience and my journey with it, and that might sound like an unpleasant journey, but I clearly love it because I keep doing it. Like there's a lot of benefits to it. One, breath management. You're talking about taking a beat and taking time with things. The only way I've been able to understand that is through pausing my breath and being able to regulate my own breathing. So I'm understanding that on a physiological level, what it means to take a beat.
Okay.
And listen to my body and listen to my body in so many areas that I wouldn't think are possible. My gut is one that I often neglect to listen to, but the gut really does talk. Like the gut does talk. So being able to develop that body awareness through a physical practice, through mental practice of meditating, through breathing. I think breath is the big connector between the physical body and between the mind. So we're talking about mental and physical benefits. I think being able to regulate your breath in a challenging posture, or in a posture that you think like, I've got this. Like I've got this sitting down one. I can sit down, I can lay down. There's all kinds of challenges to every position we put our body in. There's a challenge to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your biggest, so if we were to highlight just the biggest thing that a person gets mentally from yoga, it sounds like meditating. Yeah. And awareness.
Awareness. But if we're thinking of like a class that you might go and take, or you might practice lunges or warrior poses, I'm teaching now with more of a Taoist framing versus a Buddhist framing. Buddhist framing for me reminded me a lot of Jacob's ladder in a way, or like having to make a very linear progression to get somewhere. And my way of learning is more spherical. And some would say that the 8 limbs of yoga aren't meant to be practiced in a linear way. It's an 8-spoke wheel. You go in any direction you need to when you need to. But in Taoist, through a Taoist lens, and I've been practicing a lot of Katona yoga. Katona yoga is out in Katona, New York, and you can look it up. There's Naveen Machan and Abby Galvin are the 2 main teachers of that. But that whole practice really lends itself to exploring the cycles of life. And the Lion King, the circle of life, like all of that. There really is a circle to things and a cycle to things. And there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. And I think that framework has been really helpful for me in my body too. Because I think of people that say, oh, I have tight shoulders, or I have tight hips, or I'm just so loosey-goosey I can fold over. We rarely hear that. Mostly it's, I have tight shoulders, I have tight hips. That's like the number one thing people say. And I think tight and loose are, I'm trying to fit the frame, are opposite ends of a spectrum, but there's all these places in between of tight and loose.
Right.
Like sun and moon, there's sunsets, there's sunrises, there's all these spaces in between. More often than not, where your body might fit in one of the in-between places, or it might be tight and loose in certain areas. So I really like teaching from a more Taoist lens because it gives me more helpful imagery, yin and yang. There's a lot of talk of elements and seasons, and how the seasons play a role in what we might be experiencing. I don't know if you follow astrology at all. Do you follow astrology?
I'm a Pisces. Totally.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm a Taurus.
Okay. There we go.
I would say it's similar to that for me, that experience of having a roadmap to go to, or a reference guide.
Yeah. Zodiac astrology. Yeah. I enjoy all of it, learning all of it, not just the Zodiac part, but yeah, astrology, I believe in it. I think that it's too many things that are happening that we can coincide with that for me to say, that's not real. That's to me is weird when people believe that. So yeah, I like that.
Well, the moon has such a strong gravitational pull. It affects our waves. It affects the weather. Of course, it's going to affect us.
Right. Exactly. Right. So I believe in all of that. All right. So, okay. So you've highlighted a lot of things in reference to yoga, how your start from yoga. So, what are some myths that people have when they think of yoga?
So many.
Give us your top three. Your top three, like that made you just drink that, like
I'm not flexible enough to do yoga. It's the biggest one. Oh, I can't do yoga. I can't touch my toes. So you have to be flexible to do yoga.
Man, I really despise the word can't. Especially, it's one thing where you're not able to, but when people really get into the mindset like, oh, I can't do that. Like, how can you say you can't do it when clearly we're seeing like millions of people doing yoga?
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. What culture has been created on the gram?
Yeah.
It's a bunch of able-bodied, heteronormative presenting white women, in bendy, flexy positions. And of course, everyone's like, I can't do that. There's no representation of anything else.
Oh, wow. That's good. Okay. So the first thing is I'm not flexible.
Right. I'm not flexible, so I can't do yoga. But if we, again, go back to the fact that if we're taking the poses out, so that's a pretty ableist mindset, right? Like, what about someone who's not working with legs? What about someone who doesn't have access to their arms? Can they still not do yoga?
Right.
I think they can. I've seen it happen. And so if we take away the notion that it's all based on a physical practice and there's all these other places to explore, and I think there's a whole world out there for anyone who wants to get involved with themselves a little more deeply. That's really what it is. It's a roadmap for how do I investigate my body, what I'm feeling, how is my breath showing up, what does that signal to me? What does that signal to me when I'm in this position? What does that signal to me when I'm not in any position? And so listening, like cultivating that trust with yourself is, to me, if I had to say what yoga is, it's really taking agency over your own person, and really getting in touch with who that person is. And then being more aware of how that person engages with other people. How does your behavior affect those around you? I don't care if you can do a handstand.
I like, you know what? That was a really, really amazing quote just now about taking agency. I like that. That's great. That's great. All right. So you're saying the biggest myth is, hey, I can't do yoga. I'm not flexible. If I cannot right now just bend my legs up like a pretzel and got it. Okay. So as we wrapped up this amazing episode, season 4, episode 8, Yoga Talk with yoga instructor, dynamic person, Kerianne Brown. So someone right now, they're saying, you know what? You're right. I can't do yoga. You're right. I have said I can't. We've clearly seen people in all shapes and sizes, but you're absolutely right that, representation is that when we think yoga, we do think a certain demographic in yoga pants, and we go from there. And clearly there's a lot of people, I think Russell Russell Simmons, older guy doing it. It's a lot of NBA players that were into yoga that I did not know. And I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. A lot of football players were. So, yeah, you're right. I think that we need to probably just get more of that dynamics out here that show like, hey, yoga's out here. I would think that probably one of the things is that people think, oh, yoga's for women, but a lot of guys do it.
Oh, my goodness. That's real. That is really real. I have a client who will not be named that will message me and ask if there will be other men there today.
Yeah, see?
Because it's a real thing. I think it's a comfort thing.
Yeah.
I think that's such a vulnerable thing. So if someone is new coming to yoga and saying, hey, what advice do you have? I would say, one, you are in charge of what happens with your body.
Mm-hmm.
You have the power you have inherent intelligence in your body simply because you have a body.
Huh.
You were born with a body, therefore you were born with body intelligence. You don't need anybody else to tell you the signals that are happening in your body. You know what they are. As a guide, if you're working with a teacher, I would say, me personally, I like to diversify who I'm learning from. I know that wouldn't be the choice that everyone would make. I know that some people work with one teacher and that's it. And that's all they want to work with. Kind of like a guru situation. I want to learn from 12 different people at the same time because I want that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see all my blind spots. That's how I function in life though, too. In general.
So taking ownership, agency of your body.
Agency of your body, and know that there's a whole world out there.
Mm-hmm.
Know that there are queer teachers, there are trans teachers, there are lots of Black teachers, there are South Asian teachers, there are Desi teachers. Like I say, go find who you want to work with and go find who resonates with you.
Nice.
There's so many people out there.
Okay, great. So speaking of working, so how can someone work with you? Give us your deets, give us your contact info, so that way if someone says, hey, you know what, I like you, I want to work with you. I have my yoga pants, but okay, great. So how can they reach out? How can they connect with you?
Sure. The best way to reach out to me is through Instagram or through my email or through my website. All three of those are I'm very responsive to those. So my Instagram handle is my first and last name is Kerianne.Brown, BROWN, and my email is KerianneBrownYoga@gmail.com, and my website is also my name, Kerianne Brown Yoga.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, all that information is going to be below. And in the details, if you're listening to this on any one of your favorite stream platforms. All right, as we roll this up, can you give us one lasting thought that, hey, this is it? Like, how other shows, they give us amazing advice, amazing point of view. Can you bless us? Can you offer us just one thing as we roll out of here today?
Don't be afraid to be yourself.
Mm.
Don't be afraid of who that person is. Because you get all kinds of people, family members, spouses, partners, what have kids. Your kids will, tell you what they want to see from you, right? Don't be afraid of who you are, and keep listening to that person, because that person's got a lot of information. And the more connected you are to that person, then the better able you'll be to hold your own center and hold your own boundaries. And then those around you will be able to do that same thing. Those around you will be able to go in and say, okay, how can I hold my own stuff up?
Wow. I love that. Don't be afraid to be yourself. All right. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Guys, listen, if you are looking for a dynamic yoga instructor to teach you to help you not only mentally, not only physically, but just have a unique perspective, please reach out to Kerianne today, right now. As you're listening to this, go ahead and reach out to her. Thank you so much for stopping by. I greatly appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, Gary. This was really nice.
All right. So stand back in the green room and I'm going to rap to you. All right, guys, that is the end of our show. All right. Please make sure you connect with Kerianne on all the social media platforms. Please tell her that you enjoyed her interview. Please tell her your favorite yoga pose, all those wonderful things. And so guess what? Let me know too. You can comment below. You can get on all these social media platforms. I'm dropping episodes each and every Tuesday. So if you're just listening to this for the first time, man, you got to go back, get back in your DeLorean, get back to the way back. So that way you can listen to all these episodes because guess what? It's the same vibe. It might be a different hat. It might be a different shirt. It might be a different background, but it's always going to be the same vibes. All right. So you can connect with me by listening to any of these episodes on going to my website, www.See.Plan.Do.show.com. Hey, if you want to be on the show, you want to be a guest, you want to promote your goods, your services, your book, your events, things that you're doing, your way of thinking, please make sure you reach out to me. If you want to be a sponsor on the show, you hear that I have plenty of sponsors on the show. Please make sure you check out all our wonderful sponsorship opportunities so that way you can get your object, your thing, whatever that is, promoted to a audience that is hungry and it looks to invest and will engage. All right. And last but certainly not least, please just take a moment and just hear what I have to say. Thank you. I don't think that we hear that enough from people. I don't think we hear the word thank you enough. Sometimes it's superficial. Well, thanks. But I want to say thank you. Whether this is your first time listening to a show, this is your 78th, it's more than that. If you've been listening to the show since the beginning, I really want to say thank you. You are the best. You are the best part of the show. Until we see each other again, because we will. We'll see each other. We're looking at each other right now. Until we talk again, because we will. And until we share those special moments again. Hey, guys, always remember to see what you want to do in this life. Plan it out. Plan it out. Really nothing There's really nothing to it. Plan it out. And then simply do it. All right? Think about a yoga instructor that you want to get to. Hey, man, tomorrow, tell people as a challenge, after listening to this, I need you to tell at least 3 people that you love them. All right? Until we see each other next time, man, I really appreciate you. All right, guys. Bye.